Hello, everybody. My name is Alyssa Castro. I am the team lead for Partner Success Management here at Pia, as well as your moderator for today. I'll kick things off shortly here to Andrew Allen, one of our Partner Success Managers, and Joe Spiller, our VP of Technical Sales. But first, I wanted to say a big hello and thank you for joining to all of our lovely partners and soon-to-be partners. Thank you for joining today. Thank you for being here, for showing up. It's great to see some familiar names in the virtual crowd here. So, howdy. So,
Howdy.
a bit of context. We have started these office hours. This is our first. Welcome. To create a space where we can connect, share ideas, and learn from each other, really fostering that collaborative community. So feedback really matters as we continue to build this cadence. So please do not be shy about sharing your opinions, thoughts, ideas, questions, etc. All right, so what have we got lined up for today? Today we are focused on AI triage. We'll discuss what it is, how it's being used, show a demo, and talk about what's new and what's to come for this product feature. Then we'll open the floor for questions, comments, and discussion. However, I will also be fielding these live, so feel free to jump in at any time. I'll see those and we'll address them as we go on. And then finally, we'll wrap up with a short survey. And again, feedback is very important. We're really going to read them all and listen to it and use it to shape our future sessions. So without further ado, Andrew and Joe, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Alyssa. Hey, everybody. Great to be here. Excited for our first one. So hope you're excited as we are to have you along. Now, what we're going to be talking about today, AI triage. Awesome thing that we have going on here at Pia. We're talking about how we're going to help streamline the process for MSPs with ticket intake and resolution. Now, why does this matter? Joe, I don't know about you, but I feel like the more that we're out on the road or the more meetings we're in with partners or demos that we're in, just talking to MSPs in general, we pain points, start being brought up on if we had a magic wand, something that we could fix. A lot of times focused on the help desk and then specific to triage and dispatch. If we think about it, it makes sense. We have our triage and dispatch, which is a manual process. It can be inconsistent, heavy on resources, and sometimes slow. So when we're looking at how that bogs down the service desk, we come up with AI triage as something to help with that process. So we're looking at how with Pia, we can automate tickets right from when they're brought into the system, either email, phone, smart forms, or any other portal you might utilize. Any way that your clients submit tickets, start the automation process straight away so that tickets are being categorized instantly, correctly, and then routed to the appropriate board or queue. So we're thinking about things like bag tickets that come in, taking away the guesswork from a technician, from a dispatcher, so they don't have to sit and say, I think we have to categorize it this way and then dispatch it that way, making sure that those processes are done consistently and efficiently every time. Other things that we'll get into like AI auto start, something that comes in like my computer's running slow. We'll have Pia look at that and in real time start a computer performance report on that machine so that by the time a tech gets that ticket, that problem's been diagnosed in real time, takes the guesswork out of doing it, or I call back to that client like, hey, can you give us some more info? Any sort of thing like that. Also touch on AI analysis, training that up to be reflective to how you run triage and dispatch. There's a lot of really cool stuff that our partners are doing where they've taken our AI triage and dispatch and made it their own in different ways. So we're excited to talk about that as well. So in general, some of the impact we'll get into is just saving time on the desk, enable faster, smarter service delivery, and overall just reduce a manual effort that's going to improve consistency overall when it comes to this process. So kind of covered a lot just in a couple of minutes here, and it's great to talk about it. But Joe, I think it's going to be helpful if we have something to look at while we're talking through this with some partners.
Well, I can do that.
Awesome. So maybe we go through a journey of like a ticket, from intake and kind of moving on.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Let me figure out the share thing though.
No, it's
That's always fun.
always something.
Make sure it's the right monitor.
Did I get it?
Yeah, there we go.
We see it.
You see me moving? Good deal. All right, yeah. So I love what Andrew said there. Like when Pia started, like it was about the automations, right? It was like what can we do to help the tech? But then you really think about it, well, now with the whole AI and triage and how much we've added to it and what people are doing, um, it's a dispatcher's best friend now too. So it's really helping both. Those minutes that a dispatcher takes, man, I remember way back, when I was in MSP days, the time it took for a dispatcher to route that ticket. That's what the beauty of, this platform is. So I'll kind of run you through just a couple of things here. If you haven't, some of you may use AI triage now, which is awesome. Some of you may, well, I'm not ready for that yet. And then our potential partners, coming in, you get to see this here. So we do want people to, use this. There's many things you can do within here. In the AI and triage, it's basically route, giving you the, which way to go right here. So we try to make everything as easy as possible within our platform. So ticket ingestion, this is where it all starts. Now I do want to mention that, we are heavy embedded into three PSAs, right? ConnectWise Manage, Auto Task, and Halo PSA. Okay. They all work the same within each platform. There's a few differences, ConnectWise Manage is called boards. Autotask is called, queues.
Cues.
Halo PSA's teams, right? So I'm going off a ConnectWise environment here just to let you guys know, but it does work and all. But really, this is where it starts. What do I want to monitor? What do I want to Pia to read as those tickets are coming in? So this is really where I'm going to set up my boards. I'm going to set up certain statuses related to those boards. Most people have a certain board that tickets come into from your clients, with that status. And that's what I've kind of done here. I've got three boards I'm monitoring, maybe different intakes. So you can set that here. Again, we try to keep it as simple as possible. This is going to pull from your API in your PSA to set these up. And of course, when we're onboarding, we'll help you through this process. We have a whole session on this. So I want to do make note of that. Now, something probably new that a lot of people haven't seen here is some of the new things that we've added within here. The ticket event actions. So this is really where you can really change it up with, your intake here. There may be times where you don't want, if the ticket's updated, you don't want it to be retriaged for whatever reason or something. This is actually came from partner feedback. This is came from our ideas board. We always try to implement those when they get voted up. So make sure you're doing that if you're a partner now. But yeah, really, you can set that. It makes it even more easier to set up here and to customize it how you want. We also have a delay. So if you want to delay, if you have some other kind of workflow rule built in and you still want to run that, but you want Pia to triage tickets, you have this delay feature in here that you can set and it can wait until that process is done, then triage the ticket. So that's really cool. So yeah, this is really where you'd start. And we do have a simulate only mode. So if you wanted to run it without, stamping, routing your tickets right away, you have the capability to do that right here. Turn on the simulate only mode, and this will show up in the logs of what would happen while you're testing.
I think that's such a cool feature. Gives people an idea of what they can actually do before they have to run live with it. I think that's one of my favorites.
And then, of course, we get into the stamping feature. So if you're not familiar with stamping, stamping is really where we classify a ticket. You've got your different type, subtype items. The different PSAs have different areas of that, but it all works the same. But really, this is P is going to read a ticket. I'm going to run you through what this is really going to look like here. But we have our own classifications built out within Pia, which we're adding even more to, which will help out, some of the dispatching and triage that you're going to do. But really, you can get down in the weeds and create your own classifications. This is a newer feature we put in here. You'll see the little guy sitting right here. That's a user-defined classification. So if you want to basically stamp and dispatch any ticket coming into your PSA, this is really how you can do it with custom classifications. So you can see I've got a Lion Guard alert here, a SADS alert. So yeah, you can build those with the AI analysis rules right here. So I'm just going to jump over real quick. I know I'm not going in order, but I kind of like to try to keep it so you understand what I'm talking about because we do kind of short sessions here. So really what you can do is think of anything that you may want to do. You may want to add a classification to or be able to dispatch it. So you can base this off patterns, right? So subject line, body of a ticket. There's an advanced feature where you can do regex within here. And then you can build out the brand new classifications and then be able to stamp and route. These rules are really great because once you create one and you want to test out what it does, if it's going to see any tickets that are already in your PSA, there is a test rule function right here that you can run, and that will let you know if there's any tickets in there that it would affect. So that's a quick little tip there that some people may not know, that test rule feature right there. And then in your dispatch area, this is the fun part. This is really where you can get kind of wild and uh, do a lot of different things here. And I'm going to run you through a scenario. I've got one right here. So this is really how I route my tickets right now that come into my triage. I'm going to show you what this rule looks like here. So basically what it's saying is we all know, well, most of us know that Pia can read any ticket coming in. That is the natural language processing model built into the product. But so what it's saying here is if Pia knows it has an automation, I want it to perform these following actions right here. So I've got 4 different things I'm going to have it do within just this single rule. Now, there's times where you may want to even expand this out even more. Another newer feature is where you can do different rule sets within here. So different blocks of rule sets. So I may have a particular client that I only want to run these single rule sets on. And especially if you're building a lot of these, you may want to classify these in a certain area. You can name these however you'd like. So it could be related to a simple, dispatch rule, but you may have a lot of them in here. So you may want to group all those together. P is going to run through, read that first block, go to the second block, third, so on and so forth. So that's really what those were designed. Uh, we have a really, really large partner that does a lot of AI triage. They're kind of our big tester, right? They're the ones that need these kind of things. And that's where we took this from. It was actually from partner feedback again. So really, really great. We're adding this into the platform. So in this scenario, let me run you through a ticket since I showed you how this works right here. And it's kind of funny. I have this urgent label right here. It may go read this one too, where I'm basically setting a priority 1. So I'm going to come over to my ticket right here. You're going to see my summaries urgent. I need my password reset within here. I'm monitoring my certain boards I showed you on the ingestion part. And I have my client right here. So we're going to simulate this coming in to our triage queue and show you kind of live what it does. And this is where I always cross my fingers in a live environment. Like, I hope this works. No, it will. So really what P is going to do here is actually pick the automation. That's what it does by reading the summary and the description of the ticket, the body of the ticket. Now, when he comes up here and says, hey, I've got a password reset, the AI and triage in the background is actually going through that rule set right now. And watch this magic here. So there it happened. So basically it changed my board. It changed all those things I told you about, you know. There's four different areas that, it's going to save that dispatcher time. By the time they get to this ticket, this part will all be done for them. Now, I did have that second rule set in there because it said urgent in that summary line and it was a password reset, a little combo there. It did change my critical to a P1. So that's really where you can, use additional rule sets related to some of this stuff that's coming in. And then, of
Hey,
course, your
Joe.
text can easily just go bam and start up the password reset.
Awesome. We have a pretty relevant question for right now, if it's a good time.
Sure.
So, how can we avoid or what do we do if AI triage is making mistakes when classifying or stamping these tickets?
It'll never make a mistake. No, I'm just kidding. Right? No, sometimes
Non-issue.
that'll happen. We wish. Yeah. No, in the AI analysis section, that gives you the ability to do just that. Maybe, here's an example of one, this backup alert. Maybe it was misclassifying it or, what have you. You could come in here and build out those rule sets to ignore it. If it sees that in the body or that, subject line, I can do an ignore where it would not, where it basically fix that. Do we have any more questions out there?
Yes, we do. What if it's unclear what's triggering the incorrect classification? How can we help the clarity?
Oh, well, so, basically what you would do on something like that. And let me show you this. This is kind of important too, since we're here and we're all learning, right? Live packages. So
Mhm.
this is really where you're going to be able to get that data of exactly what it's doing. What is it seeing? So if I do my little switch view right here, let me get rid of this. Basically, this is the triage process for the one I just did. So it's going through and it's going to be able to basically evaluate all these different areas right within here. So what I could do within here, trying to figure out what happened, I could pick up my failures or my past sub or areas within here. So that way it'll say you're going to be able to see what it did. Why did it pick that based off of that? And then we can go in there and fix that. Now, of course, if you're stuck, we have great support at Pia. I am on the support team. I'm on the onboarding team. I'm on every team. I wear hats. Uh, if you guys ever run into something, you're just, it's a stumbling block, please reach out to our partner support. We'll definitely get you taken care of.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
There are more questions, but let's continue on with your demo and we'll get to the rest in just a
Sure.
bit.
Well, we kind of flew through most of this, but I think one of the big newer big features within AI and triage, which we're all excited about. I know Aaron's our CTO, and basically the chief architect of Pia, right? This was his big thing. I remember him like getting giddy about it, like talking about it, in a meeting. So the AI auto start is going to be a big one for us. I really do. I mean, I've already see more packages flowing into here. Uh, this is really cool because what you can do with this, I think Andrew stole some of my thunder earlier, but you have the client that sends in the hey, my computer's running slow, and it's like, what are we going to do with that? That takes phone calls, that takes like the back and forth, time. We're always talking about time, right? So if you have auto start on here, you can do multiple things. There's different things that you can do. You can play with in here. You can set up per client. You can really customize this out. You can set Pia's confidence ratings right here, like how confident it is it that it's a slow performance computer, But what it will do here is if they send in that ticket, which I see them all the time, what we can do with that is auto start one of our automations because you're going to see these automations tied to these over here. So in the scenario, it's going to go ahead and just launch the computer performance report. You know, it's going to launch it, go look at the computer itself, and try to diagnose what happened on that. What's wrong with it. So by the time the tech gets to it, you know, they've already got a report there saying, P is saying, hey, I think it's hard drive space here. We need to run some automations to get that cleaned up, you know. So that's really kind of how that works. Um, some of these other ones are like Teams Troubleshooter is probably one of my favorite automations. I'm sure many of you heard me say this joke 10 million times, but I must do it again. I don't know of any end user that knows how to fully exit out of Teams. You can ask them, nobody wants to reboot. So we're stuck, right? What are we going to do? So the Teams Troubleshooter will actually go in there. It can log them out, log them back in. If that doesn't fix it, it has the ability to clear cache. And I say this thing fixes 95% of Teams issues, you know,
Nice.
just by making them fully exit out of Teams. And they don't have to reboot. Think about that. They don't have to close their 29 browser tabs. I mean, think about this.
That's huge.
And then, of course, we got other ones here. We're continually adding on. But yeah, this is a big one. This is going to be a fun one. You know, we already have people that build automations. Some of our partners now that build a lot of automations, adding auto start into those functions. You can add the auto start into it. So you think it. I always tell everybody think outside the box with smart forms, and the auto start also. So you can really think of different ways of doing things to get those automations doing the work for our tech.
Awesome. Another thing too that we're talking about what's coming and some new features and whatnot. Another thing that I know a lot of partners are excited about, I get this all the time, is sentiment analysis. So with
Ooh.
Platform 19, we're going to be a sentiment analysis feature. So tickets that come in will be either positive, neutral, or negative, and then dispatch rules will prioritize based on that client sentiment, which would help with empathy, adding context to the service delivery. We're really excited about that one. Again, I know a lot of the partners are as well.
Yeah, I think we have these in our notes too. So if anybody wants to go read those, again, you're going to see this all over. Another idea submitted by a
Yep.
partner. I love that. That we're actually, we take that partner feedback. That's pretty awesome.
All right, I've got another question for you, Joe.
Bring it.
Is there a way to validate the user who's making the request? So, for example, user verification for a password reset request.
Ooh, yeah. So we do have a brand new automation for that, like a challenge user identity. That's going to be great. It could do it by, MFA. I think it's integrated with Duo now because we're integrating with Duo now. But yeah, so somebody calls in for the old password reset and says, it sounds like my voice and says, this is Wendy. I'm going to reset my password. Well, I don't know if you sound like Wendy. Let me uh, send you a code so you can repeat that back to me. That's one of the use cases of that to actually verify that user.
Awesome. And when is the Duo integration available?
I believe the Duo integration is out now. It's already out there.
Awesome. So if we have any questions about that, it's definitely an opportunity to sync with your partner success manager and
Yeah.
see how we can review that integration and get that live for you.
Yeah, I can if we yeah, we and I can throw a link in there that we have the full documentation on setting it up too if we need to.
Have a question around auto start.
Hmm.
So the question reads, so would you recommend that we enable these AI triage categories at auto start default levels?
I would. Yeah, default levels because those have been tested and proven pretty much. There'll be times where you may run into an issue where P is reading something, but that's where we can help with that AI analysis. We can help fix some of that. We can go in there and kind of adjust that. So I do recommend starting on medium and then seeing where you're going with that.
Awesome. All right, I'm scrolling through. Can we customize rules to avoid false positives?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That was kind of the I think we were kind of talking about that earlier. This AI analysis section is going to do a lot of this for you. So if it's misclassifying, if you need to customize something that you're seeing or not seeing, this is really the place to do that. Because it's basically what it's doing is it's taking what Pia already knows and enhancing it with these rule sets here.
Perfect. And can you talk us through a real world example of AI triage catching something important that would have otherwise slipped through?
See, important. What if we had a server down or a whole company went down? No internet, we got alerted through our RMM and it basically just sat there on the RMM alert board like a lot of things do. So, uh, that's a use case, right?
Yeah.
We can use PIA and its natural language processing to actually route that. Let's make a critical alert. Let's make a dispatch rule. I mean, I've already got a server down in here. I could come into dispatch rules and basically create a new rule based off of that. I think I have a classification.
Pretty quick, Joe.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's pretty quick. I'll create a
Yeah,
rule.
is,
Boom.
and these are all searchable too. That always helps. Especially if you're starting to get a lot of rules in here, just remember everything that every drop down menu Pia has back here is searchable. So basically what we could do here, we could route that to a certain person. We could basically set the priority. Let's go P1 again on that. So if that does come in, we could route it to a different board, put a set of eyes on it. We could, we could do multiple things with this
I've also seen a lot of
escalation.
partners do things like with knock alerts and things like that too. So there's a variety of different things that we can do.
Yeah. Hopefully that answered that
I do
by
believe
doing a live
so.
rule too.
Yeah. And what about catching a flood of tickets that could be an indicator for a misconfigured tool that is malfunctioning, like a misconfigured monitor?
Yeah, so that's a great one because I remember, I do come from a long MSP background, and you get those flooding alerts, right? That's a use case I would definitely use, like in the AI analysis, because again, we're reading. I would probably do probably the body in this one contains, starts with, ends with, matches exactly. A lot of those alerts that you get flooded with are generic type, you know, text within there. So basically, what you could do with that is basically build that out and then create a dispatch rule to catch those as they come in and then determine what to do.
Will AI auto start run if I have my settings to simulate only? And to tag along with that, Joe, can you talk to us about the best way to go live with AI triage from being in sim mode?
Yeah, I believe I need to probably verify that. That's a great question. I believe the simulate only is for the AI analysis, stamping and routing rules. I think the auto starts is kind of its own animal. So I think that would still work. But um, yeah, I'm pretty sure of that, but I could double check. We'll get you an answer. But I'm sorry, what was the other question?
What would the best way be to go live with AI triage from being in the sim only mode?
Yeah, well, definitely. What I would do, and I do tell partners this quite a bit. Like, if you're feeling good about reading those logs, you've got it in simulate only mode. I would take a couple of my big rules that I put in there that I feel could be a problem, and I would basically create tickets related to those and just kind of let it see what it does. And just to double check those logs again, just on the fly, just to do a couple of checks and balances, and then turn it on and let it go.
Breezing through some of these questions. Awesome.
I'm glad we got a lot of questions. It's great.
Yeah, we still have a few more. Uh, all right. So have you encountered reduced to performance slash increased triage times due to creating a lot of analysis rules? Question.
Honestly, I haven't seen that. That may be a bigger question from my dev team, which I can get a response on that. But how we kind of work at Pia when we do these big things, these big releases that we do, they go through an enormous amount of beta testing, with real partners. And so if we would have seen that, we would have probably fixed that on the back end before we release it to as a general release.
Yeah, and I'll also mention on that one, I have a partner myself that I work with who has a lot of AI analysis rules, and I have not received any feedback about that, their performance or triage times getting a hit to them.
Yep.
All right, we got a twofer.
A
So
twofer.
a twofer. Uh, can AI triage bundle similar tickets together? And can AI triage parse a company name from the ticket summary? Ooh, and then set the ticket company from what is parsed. So we'll start with the first one. Can AI
I
triage
bel
bundle similar tickets? Mhm.
I think both of those are in a next in a coming release. We got the
Yeah.
ticket bundling and the where you can parse that, and then I think we have some other things too. Besides that, we'll say we can parse the company and then figure out what the company is. By that, I need to double check on that one again too because I don't know which release that one's on. But you know, there's going to be some cool things like that coming. We've got that sentiment analysis that Andrew spoke about. So there's going to be a lot of great features. And if you didn't know, I'm kind of excited about this, and I probably should have mentioned it. This was a big one that we released too. Again, partner feedback.
Yeah,
Um, I'm just going to do this. Agreements. So we added agreements within here.
that's really
So
helpful.
think about what you could do with this, right? Like if it comes in and you don't have any kind of workflow to map an agreement to it based off of whatever kind of rules, you could do that with Pia now. And we had a lot. I remember when we first came out with the whole new AI triage, that was a big one. That was a big request. So we do have that in there now. If you didn't know that, go check that out.
So, actually, speaking of, where can we suggest features or improvements that we would like to see?
Ooh, so uh if you're not hooked up with this yet, you need to go here. So this is of course our knowledge at Pia, our ideas board. So this is where we make things happen, okay? And we always try to get everybody to go there, put their ideas. If they think of something really cool, or they don't want to do it, they don't want to build it themselves. Let's see if Pia can do it. Let's see if we can get that thing voted up. Go tell your friends, put it on LinkedIn. I don't know. So, you know, get everybody to go vote it up for you.
Awesome.
But you got to be a partner to vote. So it's just like,
All right, and I have a very popular one, and I'm not sure how much we can say about this, but what is the status of the Pia and GetThread integration?
Andrew, you want to take that one?
No, no, not so much. Yeah, that is a popular question. A lot of partners bring up thread. Love working with them. But yeah, we'll let that one.
Yeah, I don't want to let the cat out of the
It
bag, but it is being worked on both sides.
Mhm,
Okay. I think the big thing is we're all just trying to figure out, where thread ends, where Pia comes in.
mhm.
I've actually seen a demo of what they're talking about. So that's why Joe needs to shut up now and not talk too much because things could change. But I thought it looked super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the status is on the way.
Yeah.
The status is on the way, and us will actually, I guess I'll share a little bit about that
Yeah, I
later
heard
on,
there's
but
gonna be something coming up before a certain show that
awesome.
everybody likes to attend to. Something, not all of it, maybe just something. So
Let's see. Questions, comments are trickling, so we'll allow the time a few more minutes for y'all to put those in. Don't be shy. We do have one more that I have unanswered right now, and it is how heavy of a lift is it to get AI triage rolled out if it's not necessarily a top priority? And maybe understanding that can determine for our new partners or soon to be partners where to place that in the priorities list.
that is a great question. We do encourage, when you're going through onboarding with us, I deal with a lot of potential, new partners, not potential anymore. They're our new partners. But our whole team does. Our first goal is always get you going on like get those automations running, That's the goal because we have pre-built automations for a reason. We want your team to run those. So we generally get that going first. We call that core implementation, get you going. And then we will ask you at the very beginning of the project, like, is smart forms a priority? Is triage a priority? What are your priorities to work on? It varies per client, of course. So definitely we're going to get you through that first implementation phase. Get you where you're running, and then we'll start implementing AI triage and smart forms. And it all depends on how you guys want to do it too. I mean, we're always there to go with how you want to go. I've seen people like light up the AI triage like right away. They're just like, this is cool. I'm gonna turn it on, and they do it and they just run with it. So it just varies per how you want to handle things.
And kind of brings back to that point of that simulation mode too. That comes into play if, when people are putting it together, they can toy around with it a little bit, see what would have happened before they go live with it. So in that process, I think that's helpful as well.
Yeah. I've had partners that have just a simple dispatch process, It comes into a single board queue. They just want it stamped, and then certain elements or certain items they just need routed to a different board, to a different, level of text or whatever. You could have that built out quickly, and they did. But, we had that done in a session, you know. So, but both of those sessions are totally separated. We go through the whole smart forms, we go through triage, and then we're always here to help after the fact. So we never leave you with just documentation. You can always hit us up for another session or something.
Absolutely. Working with the priorities of the partner, what's the most important, knock that off first, and then keep moving along. So
Yep.
Awesome. I know we allocated about 45 minutes for our first office hours. Is there anything else, Joe and Andrew, that y'all wanted to share regarding AI triage or virtual crowd? Is there any last questions, comments y'all wanted to put out?
No, I
I get,
appreciate everybody with all the great questions. There's a lot of great questions. So, cheers to you.
yeah, absolutely. We talked about PA ideas. I do want to bring up Discord as well. That's a great place, especially new partners, where, hey, we're looking to do this. Maybe somebody else has created, or just another way to just kind of get involved in the community. Always a great resource I like to point people to as well. So
Is it, I do have two more that came in.
Oh,
One of
yeah.
them, is it correct that you only support English in AI triage?
We do only our platform is based, English, right? That's the reading language of it. But, I think with the AI analysis rules and some of the things you can do with smart forms now, um, you could probably put some different type of language. It's basically just reading the ticket, the body of the ticket, right? So you probably could build out some of those rules. You know, if you're a partner now, maybe you just do a quick
Mhm.
test on something like that. But I think you could.
And could I use Pia to auto answer my tickets and tell it to do so, and tell it only to do so during certain times, like during my after hours with predefined text?
You could. You could do something like that. There is. When you're saying like responding to the clients and all that, we generally leave that up to our partners, workflow statuses. So what we could do is change a status based off of something, which would trigger out an email going back to your client. So if you could do it with a status, yeah, you could definitely do that with Pia.
Okay. I will take in this last question, and if there are any other questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to send those out to your partner success manager that you work with, or if you're not quite yet a partner, your account executive that you're working with. This last question is, when is the next office hours? I'll take that one. It's going to be September 4th. We're going to highlight the smart forms feature of our product. And then moving on from there, this is just our very first. We wanted to put it on the calendar, so we chose August 20th. Moving forward, it'll be the first Thursday of every month. All right.
Easy enough.
Yeah. Well,
No more questions. That's it.
no more questions for
No,
now.
we had some good ones. So
But that is a wrap on today's office hours. Thank you all so much for showing up, for being here, participating. And thank you, Andrew and Joe, for being amazing at co-hosting this. Really appreciate it. As they mentioned, Platform 19 will be heading to a tenant near you soon, so stay tuned on those updates. And if you're looking for more ways to connect, we've got some exciting events coming up. We're currently at IT Nation APAC in Sydney, Australia until the end of the week. We will be at Thread AI Service Unleashed in Houston, Texas, so not too far away from me, from September 24th to 26th. So as you can see, we're really excited about working with them moving forward in the future. And then we'll also be at Kaseya DataCom in Miami, Florida, from October 6th to 8th. I will be at both the Thread event and the Kaseya DataCon event. So if you're going to be at either one of those, let me know. Would love to meet you and get something cool set up for us. And before you head out, please keep an eye out for a short survey and be as honest as possible. We'll be reading every response and use that feedback to shape our future sessions and improve how we're supporting y'all. So thank you again for joining. And I hope to see you soon at one of those events. I'm seeing a couple of y'all will be at DattoCon, so or in our next office hours.
see you, everyone.
All
Perfect.
right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.